Greetings, this is Corey from the BachScholar YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. Just as a quick announcement before I get to my topic on hand, we still have room in our teaching studios. It's fall 2024 right around the corner. Back to school. My wife Marilyn and I have room in our teaching studios for new students still, and you're welcome to sign up. Just go to the BachScholar.com website and fill out the form on the home page. Also, one more quick announcement. As September 29th approaches here, up to September 29th, you get 20% off on all digital sheet music on the BachScholar website for our back to school special, as well as yearly and lifetime memberships at our subscription website, The Well-Rounded Pianist. So we have something for everyone, and go and sign up for piano and learn piano. Okay, so now to our topic on hand. Are beginners worse now in 2024 than they were, say, 150 years ago? I remember that it used to be, I know when I was younger, it used to be 100 years ago. Everything was like, you compare to 100 years ago. Now it's not 100 years ago any longer. It's about 150 years. So I'm going to say 150 years. And the reason I say that is because I just recorded Handel's Harmonious Blacksmith, a very popular piece from Handel. And I recorded the easy version, so-called easy version, adapted for beginners. That's what it actually says. Adapted for beginners by H. Maleth in the year 1885. So Handel wrote the Harmonious Blacksmith. You can listen to my recording of the original. You can listen to my recording that I just did of this one here. It's supposed to be easy. This is supposedly for beginners. And the reason, this is why I decided to do this little video here, to have a little open forum discussion on, are beginners worse now than they were 150 years ago? Now, you might think, if you start this Harmonious Blacksmith arranged by Maleth, you think, oh, this is so much easier than his original. Okay, it is. Okay, it's, after a little chord here, you have... half. Nice, very soothing music, not too difficult. This definitely sounds like it could be for beginners, or perhaps maybe late beginners, early intermediate, perhaps. That's about what it would be classified nowadays. So if this same piece, the air, the theme from the Harmonious Blacksmith, if this were in, say, a book, like say a Faber book, it would probably most likely be around grade 4. Grade 4. Wouldn't be for beginners. No beginners. So if you view the word beginner by our standards today, even the very first piece in the Harmonious Blacksmith, in the easy version for beginners, is too hard. It's really too hard for, if you take a true beginner. A beginner is somebody who's never played the piano before and is beginning. They can't read music yet. Okay, so it's leading me to believe that the word beginner was used differently like 150 years ago. I think it was used more in general. If you weren't advanced, if you weren't playing Chopin ballades or something like that, then you were beginning. Okay, so there were beginners. This is just a theory of mine. I might be wrong. I don't know. You can put in the comments what you think. But there are beginners. So there are those that just start out. They can't read music. They just start out. Then maybe the first year they're a little better. They get up what we would classify as, say, intermediate level. They're still beginners way back in 1885. Okay, so even when we get to what we would consider late intermediate, like almost to the advanced level, that's still, according to this, beginning. Because variation 4, okay, the first one is pretty easy. Then it goes pretty easy. Variation 1 is pretty easy. Variation 2, pretty easy. Okay, so the air, variation 1, variation 2, pretty easy. So you would think, oh yeah, it's for beginners. Okay, but then you get to variation 3. Okay. That's way harder than beginner music. Then you get to variation 4. Variation 4. It goes on really fast scales. These are fast major scales, mostly like F major and other scales going down. Not a whole lot of black keys. So in theory, it's not very difficult. If you're advanced, okay, if you've been to a conservatory and you've studied music your whole life, of course this is easy. But if you're a beginner, you won't even be able to touch this. Okay, you won't even be able to touch variations 3 and 4 if you're a beginner by our standards today. But by standards 150 years ago, you were expected to do that. So beginners were much more advanced 150 years ago. Also, I'm sure you thought of this, and I'm sure you might put this in the comments below, and I've thought of this, everybody's thought of this, that 150 years ago, we didn't have phones, cell phones, we didn't have TVs, we didn't have travel like airplanes, and we didn't have all these things that take our minds away from our study that we do today. So they had higher attention spans. They probably practiced much longer. Their typical practice sessions were probably much longer than they are today, in our times. And so beginners what I'm trying to get at is this. When you see this word beginners, take it with a grain of salt, okay? Because you have to realize this is in 1885. Beginners were better. I think beginners were much more advanced in 1885 than they are today. So what can we do about it? What can we do about this discrepancy of, having this huge discrepancy of piano levels or grades? Well, in my opinion, I don't think piano grades, are that big of a deal. I know that nowadays people love to make big issues out of what grade they're in. Oh, what grade are you in? What grade? I don't think of it that way. I've never thought of grades. When I was a young person playing piano, I never thought of grades. I just played my music and had fun with it, okay? I don't even know what grades I was coming up. I didn't even have tests. I didn't even do competitions. I didn't do any of that stuff I didn't even sight read. I didn't even know what sight reading was, barely. They didn't even teach sight reading back in the 70s when I was a student. So there have been a lot of changes through the years, but one of the changes I think that has actually been a not so good change is the fact that I believe that piano levels are becoming easier and easier, and things are becoming more dumbed down. So like I really hate to pick on Faber because I've used the Faber method, and it's it's a good method for some beginner students. But the problem is you get to grade 4 of Faber, and you think you're already playing concert level music, because after grade 4 you have Bach's C major prelude, which is really a pretty easy piece. It's supposed to be grade 4. I think in here, in a book like this from the 1930s, it would probably be grade 2. So if you look at certain pieces that that are in books from yesteryear, like this book here, Piano Pieces for Children. It's a really good book, by the way. It's still in print, you can get it. It has grades here, and I was just shocked into reading these, like what it says grade 2. It says grade 2 on these 2 pieces here. I'm looking at these. These would never be grade 2 now. If these were in a method book today, like in a Faber method or whatever else method, I always mention Faber because they're the best-selling method. But if these were in a method book, these would be about grade 5. Grade 5. But it says only grade 2. Okay, so that's just one example of where you have to take it with a grain of salt. I think I do know the reason why the grades or the levels have changed over the years. And so let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video.